Joining us now, Mr. Prakash, the Commissioner for Chennai Corporation. Thank you very much sir, for your time.
Thank you.
Declining numbers for almost a week. How do you see this?
Actually, the interventional strategies on various angles has taken the city to this level. I should say right from the last week of March, we started the COVID-related management activities and under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, who right from day one has steered us through, given us a lot of support in terms of manpower, in terms of financial support, special orders, so many things, the city that, what we required whenever we post, it was given to us. And I would say a lot of verticals we rolled out. As a system, we evolved over time, over the past 1.5 months, starting from the end of March through April, and by mid-May we were able to stabilize our systems and we rolled out a lot of verticals. The important and the strongest of all our verticals, I would say, is the door-to-door survey, fever survey, which I think we are the only city in the entire country where every single household is visited by one of our fever survey workers. We have given a fixed number of households to an individual. These young boys and girls whom we drafted for special duty with a monthly pay of 15,000 rupees, these are all temporary recruitments and they are all here for this duty, and more than the duty, I would say, as a service they are here. So that way speaking, we are able to identify the symptomatic cases early tracking and tracing of symptomatic cases and putting them into the treatment cycle and then the quarantine cycle is the fundamental bedrock of all our activities. And secondly, following that, we have started conducting the camps right from the mid-April. And as we speak, we have completed around 17,000 fever camps, wherein roughly around 11 lakh people had visited our fever camps and got themselves tested. And from that numbers also, we picked up the symptomatic cases, we tested them and we put them under the treatment cycle. That is one major exercise. Right. For which we got some 300 medical officers, especially from the public health department. That is another department, health department. Again under the directions of Honorable CM. Otherwise it is an unthinkable number, this many doctors. We got them and all these doctors and nurses and technicians whom we got it on loan. They are working selflessly and tirelessly right from day one. Right. And that is another vertical from where we took the hospitals to the streets. Basically, within a distance of 500 meters, you can see a fever camp in Chennai these days. So that is another interventional strategy. The third thing that I would like to say is the HQIMS, the Home Quarantine and Isolation Monitoring System, where we categorize various types of people to be quarantined, right from the positive cases, the extended contacts, the tested and waiting for results category, the people who got discharged from the hospital and because of the we don't test the discharged patient, the patients who are getting discharged. Earlier there was a second testing, but now it's not there as per protocol. Still, for the sake of security, we would like to keep them under quarantine. That is another category. And those who ever come by applying the passes to the city, the travel category. So many categories of people, we are bringing them under quarantine. Every day we are putting 40,000 individuals under the net of quarantine. Right now, cumulatively speaking, 800,000 people were brought under quarantine, out of which around 3.75 lakhs people they have completed and they have gone out of the quarantine cycle. So at any given point of time in our city, roughly 6 to 8 lakhs people will be under quarantine always. Right. So this is a very powerful cycle of quarantine that is revolving across the length and breadth of the city, which has given the required quiescence to as far as the spread is concerned.
Right. Are numbers coming down because of stepping down, because of reduction in testing?
No, not at all. See, I'll tell you, before June 19th, when the last lockdown between June 19th and July 5th, we were only testing something like 4,000, 4,500 every day. From June 19th onwards, I will be sharing the statistics with you. In fact, I'm even posting it in the press group. We have got 2 WhatsApp groups. I'm sure you're also in that. Every day we are sharing all the information that is needed for the public to see without any hiding. We are completely transparent. From 4,500, we increased up to 6, 7, 8, and by 26th of June, we were able to touch 10,000. And we are right now, as we speak today, for instance, if you take today's results, we are around 1,200, some 100 or 150 might come down because of the duplications. The test denominator is 11,300. So we are not even thinking about reducing the number of tests. In fact, I should say the entire credit of increasing the numbers boldly should go to our Honorable Chief Minister, because that was a direct order from him. In fact, specifically Honorable CM said it should go up to 13,000. We are inching towards that, but somewhere around we are averaging around 10,000 to 10,500 every day.
Any lessons learned?
See, I would say, as far as this pandemic is concerned, there is no shortcut. You cannot hide things, you cannot reduce the test and be happy, and because ultimately it will burst somewhere. The basic premises, basic areas where you can meet success is the traditional way: tracing, testing, treating, isolating. This is the only mantra that will save any city, or for that matter even village also. So early identification, trace, we should not shy ourselves from testing. And basically the minimum percentage of testing, as advised by our respected Chief Secretary, is 1:10. Suppose if I find 1,000 positive cases in the city, I should not do less than 10,000 tests on that particular day. If I am getting 500 positives, I should not do less than 5,000 minimum. And this is lesson number one. Fundamentally, there should not be any compromise on test, because if you reduce the test, the mortality will increase. Very simple. So you increase as many tests and people get treated and isolated, mortality, we are visibly seeing it. The mortality will come down, and that is the success. The second thing is whom we should be testing. We cannot be testing randomly. There should be something called focused testing. All the home contacts should be compulsorily tested. If I am getting...
There are reports that even though someone was tested positive in a family, the neighbors weren't checked for coronavirus.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because we follow a standard protocol of whoever should be tested. 100% of all the home members, suppose if I am tested positive, my wife, my kid, my parents will be compulsorily tested. No doubt about it. And I will be having extended contacts other than the family, my driver, my workplace contacts, my friends and all. Whoever is found to be symptomatic and whoever is comorbid and old, these people will be definitely brought under the testing network. And we are testing all the ILI cases, all the influenza-like illness cases, where we pick up those cases by the active door-to-door surveillance and also by the fever camps that we conduct. 100% of all the symptomatic cases, including one symptom also. The ICMR says, for the test, two symptoms are required, but we've diluted even that. And even if somebody is coming with fever or cough only or sore throat only, we just immediately put them to test. And all the expecting mothers who would be delivering in the next 15 days. This is a compulsory, no compromise group that we are putting for testing across the city. Mm-hmm. So this itself would be reaching around 10,000. And in addition to that, one more novel idea, again that was advised by our respected Chief Secretary during many of his meetings. We are completely bringing all the vendors into our testing net, all the shopkeepers in the market, all the the pushcart vendors and all the people, where there is a possibility of those guys becoming super spreaders. Right. Because if I am a market man, if I am having a shop in the market, thousands of people will come to me. Suppose if I am positive, inadvertently I would be spreading the virus to so many. That category is called as super spreaders. So we are bringing in all the market people, market employees, the owners of the shops, small establishments, all these people continuously in a very structured manner. That would add to every day some 1,500 samples.
And would you call this as beginning of the flattening of the curve? And are you worried about Chennai after it opened up? Again, you see large crowds at places like T Nagar.
Yeah, see, actually, that's what I'm telling. The country, or for that matter the city, cannot be increasingly closed down. The logic is it has to be increasingly opened up, because it involves the livelihoods of so many millions of people. If you take our city, we have got 8 million people fixed, and I mean that's a rough calculation, because census last was 67 lakhs and right now we'll be around 80 lakhs. And apart from the 8 million people, some few lakhs would be, coming and going, floating. That may be reduced right now because of the mobility issues. But otherwise also, these numbers are very big, and so much of economic activities has to happen for the normal life to go along. So when we open, right now after the lockdown was released, 5th of July was the last date of lockdown. We are into the 11th day. Almost we are covering 2 weeks. But for the past 2 weeks, for the past 2 week span, we are observing a downtrend and a stability in the downtrend. And if at all it had to increase, it would have increased within the first week itself. That is the general trend. That is why we are insisting that the system should be in place. Whether it is opened up or locked down, all these verticals that I just mentioned, the door-to-door survey, the fever camps, the early tracking system, patient management, the home quarantine and isolation monitoring system will be more and more vigorous.
Right.
Only this will ensure very, very strong results. And I am extremely confident that all these things are getting more robust and more stronger. And definitely, if we are able to maintain this downtrend for 10 more days and further decline, we will be observing by this month end. So this is what, from the current scenario that I can give as my inference.
Anything being done to increase the hygiene quotient at these corona care centers? Not everyone is comfortable going there. Many prefer private hospitals. Can't we do something to improve the ambience quality there?
See, you are talking about the COVID care centers? The COVID care centers basically are those places where mildly symptomatic and asymptomatic people are housed. And right now we have a bed strength of 17,500 strong, and few more thousands also will be added up in the coming days. It's not that we are complacent and we have stopped building up the beds. That will be a separate vertical that is handled by one of our deputy commissioners separately. A team of engineers are at it. We have employed a lot of people for conservancy, cleaning and day-to-day operations and all that. The challenge lies in the fact is getting the people for the conservancy to be done, because everybody knows the entire block or entire campus is filled with positive patients, and it is only human for anybody to be afraid. Right. Even if we pay more than double the wages, it was very difficult for us in the initial days, and now we are stabilizing. Yes, I agree. There are some small snags in terms of the conservancy and cleanliness. But we are continuously struggling and fighting against all odds to meet that gap. One or two places, whichever was brought to our notice, we immediately acted, put things in place, and we evolve as we go by. So,
still many say to get a hospital bed in Chennai, those positive patients, you need to have contacts. Can't we put in place a centralized mechanism where it can be streamlined?
See, that is again, I would like to differ from your point of view, because every day we are managing the cases. The early morning hours, what we do is, what you see in the evening bulletin result is, the final thing. But we cannot wait till that evening time. So by around 6 o'clock, I have a separate dedicated team, and our Joint Commissioner Health is directly monitoring on a minute-to-minute basis. We get the raw list from the State Public Health Laboratory where the compilation happens. The moment we get the raw list, we have created a separate portal. Mm-hmm. I suggest you can make a different story on that as well. That portal is a very robust portal. We put all the data into that, and automatically the sanitary inspectors who are handling at the ward level, they will be doing the data operations, and they will be accepting or rejecting or transferring to the other zones. By around 9ish or 10 o'clock, we will be completing which particular patient belongs to which street of which ward of which zone. That itself is a major exercise. And what happens from there, we have a very large fleet of vehicles. Mm-hmm. We pick up the patients from the home, take them to the screening centers. That is again one more unique thing Chennai is only doing. We have got 12 screening centers where we don't rush all the people to the hospitals. We have 12 screening centers managed by the medical colleges with senior doctors, associate professors level. There we do screening. We take an X-ray, we take the complete blood count and the renal function test. We analyze, and the doctors, highly qualified doctors there, they decide this guy goes to the hospital, this guy goes to the COVID care center, and this guy is eligible to go back home for quarantine. Straight away from there, through our 108 ambulances, you know our 108 system, through the 108 ambulances, we transfer the patients straight away from those screening centers to the hospitals. So 95% of those who are getting admitted are through our screening centers. See, all these things were brought to our notice also. Those who did not come to our screening centers,
Right.
those who did not follow the process, or those who wanted to bypass the system and directly go to the medical colleges were facing some issues, because in such a large canvas of operations, it is better for everyone to follow the system. If somebody tries to slip out of the system and go directly, it is very difficult for anybody to manage all these issues.
How prepared are we in terms of rising numbers still, in terms of beds, in terms of corona care centers? We have around 15,000 active cases at the moment.
Yeah, right now, on this day, we are nearing around 80,000 total patients, out of which 65,000 got healthily and very good discharged people. 15,000 people, compared to earlier case load that we faced, it's a very small number. And we are not complacent that the things are, coming down for the past, 2 weeks span. We are not going to slow down our process. As I said, we are building up the bed spaces continuously. We have an aim of reaching 25,000 COVID care beds alone. In addition to that, the medical colleges, the health department, the health secretary has taken it up as a major challenge, and he has added up 2-3 more thousand beds into the already existing facilities. And combined with the COVID care centers is the lower level.
Right.
COVID health and dedicated COVID hospitals capacity also is getting ramped up, like never before.
Right.
So we are prepared for, we have an equivalent bed strength like Delhi has. Delhi has a population of 1.75 crores, whereas our population is 80 lakhs. But the number of beds that Delhi has is equal to the number of beds. In fact, we have little more beds in the COVID care centers. So that much prepared we are to face any eventuality. With all the verticals and the support systems that we have rolled out, we are extremely confident that things will go smoothly. At the same time, two things are there which has to come from the public. One is the active cooperation in terms of usage of mask. That I am happy.
Is that a big challenge?
Yes, I'm 85% obedience I have observed. As a team, generally we are observing. And the social distancing. The second thing is, our guys go door to door to all the houses, take care of people, ask the questions. If at all somebody is having any symptoms, they should not have any second thought of sharing that.
Right.
People are having some apprehensions that if I say, people will take me to the quarantine, and that is an unfounded fear.
Right.
That is not necessary also. And there is no logic in that. So on these two counts, mask thing and social distancing thing, we are enforcing separately. On this side, if a little, there are some instances, in fact I had shared it earlier with the media, if only the people had cooperated by coming voluntarily in telling the symptoms and all, we would have averted 15% of the deaths, 15%. So that is again an unfortunate thing. Beyond a point, the survey workers cannot compel or do anything.
In urban slums, you had the challenge of cramped houses,
Yeah.
people living along narrow lanes. How did you address that?
Yeah, see, actually the density of Chennai city is 26,000 persons per square kilometer. But when you go to the slums, it will even be more than 50,000. Because in very, very small locations, you can see in a small space of 400 square feet, you can see 5-6 people living. And generally the houses are very, very closely located, very cramped. And what we did, we wanted to have a special focus as far as the slums are concerned right from the beginning. So we rolled out the Chennai City Community Intervention Program, CCIP. We associated ourselves with 93 non-governmental organizations. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is the interpersonal relationship and the interpersonal communication that will take the message strongly inside the heart of the people. Apart from so many other IEC activities that we roll out, for slums, we sense that it should be totally different, and we associated with them, with the NGOs, including the transgenders. We have got NGOs where differently abled people, specially skilled people are there. So many varieties of people we have made them work in the slums. And that has given a remarkable turnaround. Slum population is around 26 lakhs in Chennai. 26 lakhs out of the 80 lakhs, works out to something like roughly you can say around 30%. So, for the past 45 days, I am really happy to share the information that in the slums, originally we were really afraid, as you were mentioning, because of the density and the situation prevailing. But right now, for the past 45 days, we are continuously seeing a very sharp decline in the number of cases. And in many number of slums, we have got 600 slums, 600 plus slums in Chennai. And we have broken down those 600 slums into 1,979 locations. Right. Furthermore, and in most of these locations, we are not able to find any single case because of various reasons and these interventions.
Lastly, Chennai model is now replicated across Tamil Nadu. Does it make you happy?
Really happy. In fact, the amount of work and the amount of collective brainstorming we had, so much of man hours of discussions and creating these verticals has started delivering the results, and really our Honorable CM was extremely happy because he was really worried earlier because of the rise and all. Anybody would be worried. And now I am really happy as a collective system, if this can be replicated in all of our other places in the state, and definitely it will give good results, because what system has worked here can work anywhere. I am really happy that it has been recognized, and if it is replicated in other parts, definitely good results we will be seeing all over the state.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank
That
you.
was Mr. Prakash, the Chennai Commissioner, talking to us with camera person Edwin. Sam Daniel, Find It TV.